The NBA is undergoing a massive era shift. With it being a copycat league, we've seen teams lead the way with postseason dominance before other teams replicate that success. The three-point revolution, small ball, and positionless basketball are the most recent shifts. This time, the Nuggets paved the way for a redirection from top-heavy super teams to depth and aiming for the best roster fit possible from top to bottom. It's all on full display in these playoffs, so let's break it down. Before we start, consider subscribing to the channel, as these videos take me a lot of time to put together, so it would be very much appreciated. Okay, so let's start with the decline of super teams. While we still have organizations who manage to put together tons of big name talent like the Boston Celtics, the age where 2 to 3 of the top best of the best players team up by forcing trades or through free agency is over. A team can no longer be carried just by talent alone. In this year's playoffs, there were 9 such teams that followed the star spearheaded model as shown on the screen. 7 of them lost in the first round, 1 in the second, and all of those losing teams were demolished in very lopsided series. The only one that remains are the Dallas Mavericks, yet they are a unique story. They made several midseason moves to fill the roster with well-fitting and extremely high-impact role players that the other mentioned teams could only dream of having. I have another video if you want to check it out that details those moves in more detail. But regardless, stars just don't win games by themselves anymore, at least not enough for deep playoff runs. Look at the teams who are the success stories of this postseason. The Pacers, Mavs, Knicks, Timberwolves, heck, even the Boston Celtics. The rosters do have stars, but most importantly, all of the players around them aren't just there to fill a small role. They have multiple guys who impact the floor with hustle plays, great defense, shooting, and even shot creation when needed. Josh Hart being my favorite, and probably the best example for this. Hart left everything out on the floor for the Knicks. He played 42 minutes per game. In those 42, he was felt everywhere on the court, making as many smart, high-energy plays each possession as he could. He only had a 16% usage rate, showing that he didn't need the ball to have that kind of impact. And through the playoffs, he averaged 14.5 points, 4.5 assists, 1.8 stocks, and an insane 11.5 rebounds per game, 3 of those being on the offensive glass. A role player having that kind of impact might be an outlier, but he wasn't the only one. Just to name a few of the many, we had Isaiah Hartenstein, TJ McConnell, Jaden McDaniels, Naz Reid, PJ Washington, Derek Lively, and Derek White. These aren't guys you can get on vet minimums. A super team usually doesn't have the money to spend on those type of players. For example, the Lakers had to try and make Spencer Dinwiddie work along with the other outcasts they brought to the team in roles they weren't really built for. The Suns were desperate and acquired Bradley Beal and as many big names as they could get. Now a roster has to be built with fit in mind. Tim Connelly, former Nuggets GM and current Wolves one, demonstrated this philosophy by creating a title-winning team and a contending one in Minnesota. So they are going to be some of the best examples for what modern teams are probably going to look like going forward. The continued advancement and acceptance of basketball analytics likely played a role too. They have size, no more small ball. You need real bigs on the floor for rim protection and rebounding. If they can put pressure on the offensive glass too, that's ideal. Each of the final 4 teams have true centers and other guys who are very, very active on the boards. Both teams have lengthy wings at shooting guard and small forward to cause disruption and guard matchups effectively. They each have a player or 2 who can do the traditional superstar role, create buckets when the offense is dead. But really, the ball doesn't stick as much. With so many players in the offense who are capable of doing different things, you're more likely to get quality looks by moving the ball around. All of it has created a great time to be an NBA fan. It doesn't matter as much who is on what team, because on any given night, you could be treated to a great game full of energy and competitiveness. Let me know what you think about the state of the NBA in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.